Welcome to a word mentality video. In these videos I'm going to be looking at the wonderful world of words, and often that will mean looking at etymology. Now, what etymology is the study of the origin of words, where they come from, and also how they've changed over time. English draws words from all different languages all around the world, and it can be helpful to know where they came from. Particularly when you come to spell a word, it can help if you know whether it's of Greek origin or Latin origin. Where it came from can help you work out how to spell it correctly. But it can also just be interesting to know where a word came from. And that's the case today, I think, with a word that we're going to be looking at, which is posh. Now, posh is a word that can be used as an adjective to describe a noun. So it was a posh hotel. But it can also be used as an adverb to talk in a posh way. In England it tends to also be used as a verb. So you might posh up the room to get ready for a big ball, and then when you go to that ball, then you might use it as a noun to say it was the height of posh. So it can be used in all these ways. We don't know how it originated. There's a chance that it was originally used as a noun, so you would call someone a posh, like he was a real posh, meaning someone who was acting in a fancy way. But we do know what we mean when we say posh. When we say posh, we're talking about something being luxurious or stylish, and it's usually associated with the upper class things and upper class people. Now, the origin of the word is lost in the mists of time. It's only been around for about 100 or so years in common usage, but it may trace back a lot further than that. It might come from a Romany word that means wealthy, or means money, in fact, and so if that then became associated with people with money, that could explain. It also might come from an Urdu word which meant, or still means, well-dressed. And so if someone was well-dressed, then that might have become associated with all of these ideas and posh. There is another story that goes along these lines, that back in the time when sailing or going on big ships was a way to get around the world that was more common than air travel, because air travel hadn't become available to everyone yet, then one of the really busy shipping routes was from England to India and back. And if you were to sail out from England to India, then there was a certain side of the ship that you wanted to be on because it was cooler, and so your cabin on that side would be more comfortable. Now, on the way out from England, the side of the ship that you wanted to be on was the port side. So on the way out, you wanted port. On the way back from India to England, the side you wanted to be on, quite obviously, was the opposite. Let me just spell this right. So that was the starboard side. So you wanted to be port out and then starboard home. So as the story goes, the P&O shipping line that ran the cruise ships, if you had paid extra, because these were the more expensive cabins, if you had paid extra to get a cabin that was port out and starboard home, your ticket would be stamped POSH. And so you had the money to pay for that privilege, so you were one of the posh passengers. Now that makes a lot of sense, and it's a great story for the origin of posh. Unfortunately, it's not true. Like a lot of word origin stories, the more interesting story is often not true, which is unfortunate, but I think it's still worth learning the stories because it can help, particularly with difficult words to spell, it can help with the spelling. Obviously, posh isn't a difficult word to spell, but it's an interesting story nonetheless. I hope you agree. Thanks.